What up, everybody? BMF Season 4, Episode 5. Boom surprised Markeisha, now out of prison, and was waiting for her at her house after breaking in when she got home from shopping. And by this interaction, we could tell that Kesha is intimidated by Boom and wouldn't try talking to him the way she talks to Terry, or try putting him out the house, or anything like that. Keeping in mind their history, going back to Season 2, when Terry saw that Kesha had a black eye from Boom. There was the time that Boom put Kesha and her kids out in the middle of the night in the rain, and Terry had to come pick them up and put them in a hotel. Then things escalated to the point where Kesha was tired of Boom putting his hands on her and smashed the bottle over his head to the point where the cops were called, but Boom didn't press charges. But Kesha would continue to go back to Boom until the time he was arrested and went to prison. And even after that, Boom's number 2, Saint, shot up a car with Terry and Kesha in it. But Kesha always went back to Boom with the same excuse that he's her husband and the father of one of her children. So Boom gets out of prison only for the cycle to continue, breaking into the house first, now living in the house that Terry bought for Kesha. So in episode 6, Kesha told Terry the truth that Boom was out of prison and he was living at their house. Kesha claimed to Terry that she had a plan, that she wanted to use Boom for his contacts to help Terry expand his business. But we already saw how that went the first time she tried using one of Boom's contacts, Isaac Roberts. The entire deal was one big sting operation. So Terry would be a fool to trust any of Boom's contacts moving forward. And he wasn't feeling that plan at all either, because he said fuck that and went to the house to confront Boom, where the two got into a fight, and Terry had the upper hand when Kesha walked in and stopped them after Terry busted a lamp over Boom's head. Then at this point, Boom said some real shit to Terry that Terry needs to take heed of. That Terry was stupid and he couldn't see that Kesha was playing him, just like she played Boom. Then Terry threw Boom out the house, leaving the question, where's Boom gonna go next? Is he gonna go somewhere else? Or was he just gonna wait until Terry wasn't around and go back to the house with Kesha? And because Boom is so violent, especially towards Kesha, once Terry's gone, he might return and attack Kesha, because like he said, she played him too. Last time she was visiting him in prison, she lied to Boom and told him that she was no longer seeing Terry. That's why Boom told Terry that Kesha was playing them both. Kesha wants the best of both worlds. She wants to still be with T while she's living with Boom, and using Boom for his contacts, and using Terry for his supply. Then on the way out, Terry asked Kesha if she'd rather be living with this O.J. Simpson looking motherfucker. And she said of course not, and Terry didn't give her a chance to finish what she was about to say before telling Kesha that he was right to give Lawanda his money because Lawanda was the realest bitch he ever met. Keeping in mind that a couple episodes ago, Terry started giving Lawanda his money to hold, saying that he wants to stack up as much money as he can and eventually get out the game. But notice Lawanda's facial expressions at the beginning part of this conversation when she thought Terry might be trying to hook back up with her, and at one point even standing up and about to walk off because she was thinking that Terry was trying to hook up with her before he showed her the money. So this lets us know that Lawanda is no longer interested in Terry in the same type of way she was in earlier seasons of the show. At this point, she still cares about Terry as the father of her children, as well as the fact she's still in a good relationship with the rest of the Flannery family. But it doesn't seem like Lawanda is interested in Terry romantically anymore though. So with all that said, while Terry's telling Kesha that Lawanda's the realest bitch he ever met, and he has Lawanda holding his money, I think Terry's about to be in for the surprise of his life when he finds out that Lawanda has moved on and has another man now. This will probably break Terry's heart more than Kesha ever could, because the fact Terry felt like Lawanda was the one who would always be there and would always wait for him and eventually come back and be with him anytime he started showing her attention. But I think that Lawanda has herself a new man who will most likely be introduced as early as the next episode, episode 7. I believe that Lawanda's new man is going to be a guy named Demarcus, played by Tyler Lepley. And Demarcus' character description reads that he's a new rival in Terry's territory whose presence is more than just a local problem, it's personal. And what would make Demarcus' presence personal? The fact that Demarcus is now in a relationship with Terry's baby mama, Lawanda. And the first look image of Demarcus has him and Terry face to face at what looks to be Terry's restaurant, with Lawanda standing on the side of Demarcus like she's there with him. And of course, once Terry finds out that Lawanda has another man, he's definitely going to want to get that money that she's holding back from her, because there's no way that he can trust all that money in Lawanda's hands when she has another man that she's with. Not to mention the fact that Wanda might even be living with Demarcus now, because we know that Terry bought Kesha an entire house and he got himself an apartment. But as far as Lawanda, last time I heard she was still staying with her mother, even though Terry did get her a minivan after she gave birth last season. So another question is, just like how Terry ultimately got played by B. Mickey, with B. Mickey wanting revenge against Meech and Terry for the way they treated him and put him out of BMF, Lawanda could also be low-key seeking revenge against Terry for breaking her heart and choosing Kesha over her. Keeping in mind how mad she was after she gave birth when she found out that Terry was still seeing Markeisha. And even in season 2, she almost snitched on Terry to Brian and Veronica Jen before she remembered what Meech had said to her, that she was their A1 from day one. And with Demarcus being in the game, what if Lawanda gave Terry's money to Demarcus, and that could be why all of a sudden Demarcus is a new rival in Terry's territory? Not to mention, the beginning of the episode, keep in mind, Meech said Mexico made him realize how much of a liability Terry was. So with Terry talking about getting out the game after he saves up his money, and because we know he never gets out the game until the time he gets arrested, possibly indicates that Lawanda and Demarcus stole Terry's money, forcing him to stay in the game longer than he wanted to. The only reason I wouldn't see Lawanda doing this is because of her relationship with the rest of the Flannery family. But with that said, B. Mickey also has a good relationship with the rest of the Flannery family and still wants Meech and T dead. But at the same time, Demarcus could have told Lawanda something like he's just going to use the money to get his own product and stack up his own money in the game, and Terry would never even know that it was missing. And there's also the factor of Lawanda's mother, who's very greedy, and if she knew that Lawanda was holding all that money for Terry, she would definitely tell Lawanda to keep it for herself, because Terry was supposed to be paying all that money to her in child support anyway. And Lawanda hasn't always shown herself to be trustworthy either. In season 1, she had Terry's back, lying about him not being in the drug game and that her uncle bought them that Mercedes Benz. But at the end of season 1, Lawanda conspired with Lucille to try to force Terry out the game by taking Terry Jr. and leaving Detroit to go stay with family out of state. And once she got back and Terry was now interested in Kesha, she then started collecting Terry's things behind his back and took them to some kind of sorceress or fortune teller type shit. But I can understand why Terry thought Lawanda was a good choice to hold his money, but it could definitely end up being a mistake. And now Terry's dealing with two different females, Kesha and Wanda, who both have another man in the picture. While Kesha's living in the house that Terry bought and Lawanda's holding Terry's money. Not to mention that both the other guys in the picture, Boom and Demarcus, are also in the game. And Demarcus is described to be a rival in Terry's territory. And we already know Boom's history and that he wants back in the game also. And there's even the possibility that Boom and Demarcus could link up and try to come up with a plan to take down Terry. Or maybe Demarcus was possibly even someone B. Mickey sent to try to hook up with Lawanda, all a part of his master plan to take down Meech and Terry. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.